everyone. Welcome back. You are listening to Corks and Confessions, where we pour a glass of wine and we also pour out our hearts. I am one of your hosts, Jeanette.
And I am Phoenix. Welcome to part 2 of our Dating Show Roundup.
Dating Show Roundup.
We had so much fun filming part 1.
Yeah, we did.
So now we are so excited to film part 2. So if you haven't caught part 1, I highly recommend.
Yes, go back and take a listen to part 1 where we talked about, what were the shows that we talked about again?
Holy moly cannolis. What did we talk about?
Out of sight, out of mind.
Out of sight, out of mind. What on also we talked about Ultimatum and Vanderpump Rules.
And Vanderpump Rules, yes. Which
is not technically a dating show, but there's a lot of dating on the show. Yes.
Absolutely.
A lot of real life dating.
Yeah. We are going to be talking about Love is Blind. One of my favorites. I know I say that every time, but I really mean like obsessed with this show on Netflix and Married at First Sight.
I really agree. I absolutely love Love is Blind. It's very addicting.
Absolutely.
I wonder why. I think it's very addicting.
I think it's because you really have no idea what's going to happen. And they have no idea what's going to happen. Like the audience is also blind as to what is going to happen on this show. It's totally different than couples who are already established, like The Ultimatum, right? Like you don't know what's going to happen, but you can see the dynamics. And Love is Blind, it's like a brand new blossoming love story.
Yeah. Like they're already falling in love through the phone. What is that song? Call me through the phone. I don't know.
You lost me.
Soldier Boy.
Oh, yes. Yes, I do know that one. Yeah. Our wine today, if you haven't guessed already, is Chianti.
Chianti Italia.
Yeah. So basically what happens is we try to find a new wine, and every time we're like, this is just delicious. But we will be
featuring many more wine bottles from here on out.
And if you have a suggestion, feel free to DM us on Instagram or TikTok at Corks and Confessions if you've got a bottle of wine that you and your besties are always drinking, because we'd love to taste it and try
Let us know.
My confession today is I do believe that love is blind.
You do believe love is blind.
Yes, I believe. My confession is I think people can grow in love.
You know, I very much agree with you on my own life with that love is blind, but I feel like the bigger part of me does not believe
that love is blind.
Love is blind. Yes.
Very interesting. So we'll be talking about that and also more about the show.
Yes.
Very exciting. Should we toast?
We should toast.
I haven't had a sip yet.
I did.
I'm having a sip now. Still delicious.
Still dry and delicious.
Okay, so one of the reasons I think Love is Blind works so well and why it became so popular is because in season 1, we had the ultimate Love is Blind couple come together. I don't know if you guys remember season 1 where Lauren
and Cam
came together. It was like, is this going to work? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it did. And you know what? They're still together today.
They are. Oh my God. King and queen of Love is Blind. Their relationship was just stunning to watch. Process.
It was so fun to watch. And what I really think this show needed was a couple that made it work, so that every other time people were signing up to do this show, they're like, I want to be like Lauren and Cameron. Yeah. That's who I want to be like. That's the role model. That deep, connected love, the willingness to like work through your differences, because they actually had a lot of differences.
They did. And the way they communicated it with each other was, one, so loving.
Absolutely.
So vulnerable. But I think the beautiful part of it was they weren't really trying to take care of each other. They were trying to communicate for each other.
Yes.
Like defending or standing up for themselves, for the relationship.
Yes. And not like, I'm right, you're wrong. It was like, how can we better understand each other to move forward?
Yeah. And not also, you are right. How can I involve your correctness into my life? It was like completely separate, individuals coming together to form a power couple.
Exactly. And that's such a great word for them, like power couple. I don't know them personally, but I feel like we could be best friends.
Hello, come on the podcast.
Yeah.
Besties.
Absolutely. Like, how's the marriage going? Tell us, how's it working? You know what I loved about them too is my parents were an interracial couple. And so I always felt underrepresented watching couples on TV and seeing these two people who come from different cultural backgrounds come together and love and understand and want to learn how to be better and support this person who may come from a different culture. I think that was just so beautiful. And Lauren's family, amazing.
Oh, yeah.
So accepting. Like, obviously, their daughter went on this Love is Blind and met some stranger, some tall, geeky, white dude who's like a nerd, but also hot.
So charming.
So hot and charming.
I do agree with everything that you said.
Yeah.
And so charming.
But they were a little skeptical, obviously, because
Love is Blind.
Yeah, it's a reality dating show, right? How could they possibly have found each other in this way? But they were also very gracious and accepting, and I loved seeing that. I love seeing that.
Oh, and I'm sorry, he was so hot for her. He just would do anything for her, but not in it. Like, you could really tell it wasn't infatuation. It was, he really valued her.
Yeah.
Her thoughts, her everything.
Yeah, exactly. I loved it. I'm here for it. I hope they bring him back to the show and just like give us a little update.
Put them on camera. I just want to see them.
So Netflix, if you're gonna make a show about Cameron and Lauren, I think we'd both tune in for sure.
Here for it.
Binge
all day.
watching. Binge watching.
We all one day.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
On the other hand, fast forward to a couple I was not a fan of.
Which season?
The last one.
Okay, the
very last season.
Cannot wait for the new season, by the way.
I really can't wait. I'm very excited. But this couple is Chelsea and Kwame.
Oh, yes. The guy from Portland, and then she lived in Seattle. Yes.
I'm not a fan. I sincerely think they have some clout contract of staying together.
Oh, you think that they're out of...
They're milking it.
They're milking
I do.
They could be. You know, here's the thing about these shows. I honestly believe more than half of the people on there think this is like a fun opportunity to see what happens. Like, be on a show. When is another opportunity like this going to come in your life? And I think the other half are actually there to meet somebody and make a life with somebody. So, yeah, it could be possible. It could be very possible that one or both of them are like, let's see how far we can go.
Yeah, let's see how much money we can make.
Yeah.
I don't buy it. I didn't buy it throughout the whole episode. I don't buy it in their interviews. I don't see it.
See, I've only watched them on the show. I haven't followed up necessarily to see like where they're at. But during the season, I remember Kwame had a hard time letting go of his prior relationship.
Yeah.
And he was devastated when she broke up with him.
Did you see the change in his face as soon as he met her physically in person?
Yeah.
Like, and I don't even think her and Chelsea physically, I don't think they're that different.
They're not entirely that different.
No, but it was like an energy thing. Like,
Maybe.
He was so into the other girl. Like, if she would have picked him, he would have said hell yes.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Probably. I do think what I liked about watching Chelsea on that season was she was completely consistent.
That's true.
Every single, what she wanted, how she wanted to be loved, her expectations, none of it ever changed. She was very consistent in her needs and her wants.
Yes.
And she never wavered.
I agree with that. I do think she's a very independent, strong woman.
Absolutely.
But when you are so sure like that, can that cloud you? Because it's like having a checklist. And I think that she saw him and she said, dipped her claws in like, he's sexy.
I don't think she dipped her claws in.
Oh, okay.
I think She comes off to me as somebody who has everything else in her life and is just waiting for that right person. And I think marriage is difficult. Choosing a partner for life and deciding that this person is going to be the person I work through all the things with, all the good times, all the bad times. You're not going to want to be with that person every single day, 100% of the time. You might have like a range of like, today I like you about 10% of what I normally like you. Like it's just the ebbs and flows of life. I think she was like, this person has all the qualities I would want in a partner. And there's so few things that are so small in the grand scheme of life that she was willing to just go 1,000% in. She jumped off the cliff, nose first.
Yeah.
And she was like, are you going to jump with me? And he was kind of like, I don't know. So I think she's definitely a strong, independent woman. Will they last? Time will tell. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's you're bringing up very good points. I think it's so tricky for me because I see someone that is, head on for what she wants. And I do admire her putting things aside because she wants this. Like she knows.
She wants it more than she
is willing to entertain the I don't want to say bad parts, but like more than she's willing to entertain the parts that are not compatible.
Completely compatible. Yeah.
But yes, I do wonder if you miss red flags or you miss the other person.
Are you so willing to make it work that you're just ignoring the pebbles in the face?
I'm ignoring the pebbles in the face. Exactly.
I see what you're saying there.
Yeah.
So smart.
Yeah, because I don't, if someone was looking at me the way that he looks at her, I would be like, you are not into me. You are not.
You don't think
you don't want this to work with me. Like if I'm the one that is so sure and you are wavering that much, I don't want to convince you.
So I have a question. Do you think in a relationship there's always the chaser and the chasee? Because typically I think women prefer to be the person being chased and having the guys chase them. Do you think if the situation was changed, if it was Kwame that was like all about her, in love with her, and she was kind of like, I still kind of like this other person, and do you think it would have changed your mind about them as a couple?
No, I don't think so. I think it has. I do think I'm a fan of masculinity, and I feel like, yes, there is a chivalry or a masculine energy that
you appreciate,
that I appreciate, but I definitely do feel like for the most part it has to be half and half.
Has to be 50-50.
If Chelsea was the one that was like, not sure, I would be like, Kwame,
what are you doing?
Well, there's a lot of people out there that will kill for you.
So what you were hoping to see is kind of like Cameron.
I was like, Cameron.
Lauren. It was like,
Cameron
it seemed they were
Lauren.
both running towards each other.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get that.
Exactly.
I totally get that.
Even when they were pulling away a little, when they were unsure, they were still in it for each other.
Right. Totally get that. Another couple that I really wanted to talk about on Love is Blind is the highly controversial couple of Zach and Bliss.
Oh my God.
So if you remember, Zach actually proposed to Irina in the pods, got to the honeymoon, realized he made a mistake, and decided after the honeymoon was over, they broke up, I'm going to hook up Bliss because you know what? I think I actually love her. I should have picked her in the first place. What did you think about that situation?
Man, there was so many thoughts around that, but the first thing that pops in my head is Bliss's patience and love for Zach, whatever opinion you have of Zach.
Right.
It really taught me how when you genuinely love someone, the amount of forgiveness or like different from Chelsea and Kwame, I feel like, because she was genuinely like in love with Zach.
I like to watch these shows and put myself into these situations that are highly hypothetical because I will probably never be on this show myself.
Hey, I might. I might be applying.
So I try to think, okay, if my husband had proposed to somebody else and then a week later was like, just kidding, I actually really love you. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm dumb. I'm really dumb. Please forgive me. Take me back. And then a couple weeks later proposed to me. I don't know. I find her so brave.
Yes.
And it was such a public, embarrassing thing to go through and to have to explain to your family, having to explain to the world your feelings and your choices and to defend your choices. How exhausting for a new couple to have to go through that. And I applaud her.
I do too.
I applaud her strength in choosing this person, whether it works out for them. I mean, I'm always going to be like, please work it out. I hope so. But I applaud her for not giving in to whatever societal or friendship pressures from other people.
Yeah. And her family too. Her dad was like,
oh, he was, he
grilled him.
Went in. I was like, oh, let me grab my wine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Daddy is not playing.
Daddy is not happy. Yeah, no, I agree. I definitely hold Bliss on on a pedestal because the way she handled that and the way she communicated her feelings and was just, I could just tell it was all coming from a loving, maybe hurt and maybe her ego
definitely hurt. I mean, she said it several times. She gave him a hard time, and at some point she decided, I've got to either choose. Yeah, she either decides to forgive this person and really make an effort to try or not. I thought she was emotionally intelligent.
Yes, I agree.
And emotionally mature.
Yes.
And I actually think Zach is too. I think with Irina, which is so interesting. So here's the thing with Love is Blind. All you hear is someone's voice, right? You can't see what their face is doing. So you're only imagining in your head when they're saying the words what their actual body language is like. And I think if you close your eyes and go back to like an episode between Zach and Irina and just listen to how she's delivering those words, I can understand why he might have been enveloped by that and hoping that the emotion and the body language were going to somehow match up in his mind. And then because she spoke the same way when they were on the honeymoon. She didn't change who she was suddenly. She didn't suddenly change. It was just suddenly he saw the body language.
Okay, I will ask you though.
Okay.
So, yes, she's always the same. But do you think, I do think Zach was very into Irina. Like, obviously he proposed and
absolutely.
He wanted to make it work. Irina and Bliss are complete opposites.
Yes.
So I do wonder, because I have heard talks about if Irina, I think the downfall of that was she was just not attracted to Zach. And you saw that from the moment she laid eyes on him.
Right.
She didn't want to kiss him. She was like, oh, no. And Zach is not an unattractive guy.
No, not at all.
But she just was not attracted to him. And what if she was? Would that have worked?
Suddenly attractive, would it have worked? I don't know.
Because she would have been, it would have been a continuation of the pods in person.
I don't know. I think we talked about some of the people who might be there for love and who might also just be there for clout. I don't know if Irina, I think she had the best. She was like a very good intentioned person, and I was like, yeah, if I find the love of my life and I'm on a reality show, like that's like a cherry on top of a very delicious pie. But I think so Zach is pretty open about the relationship with his mom. They went into his backstory a little bit.
Yes, and
I actually think that Irina in many ways reminded him of his mom.
I've heard those rumors too.
And so I think they bonded through trauma in that way.
That's true. That's a good point.
So when you bond with someone through trauma and you talk about some of the deepest things, you feel connected to that person. It's impossible not to feel connected.
That's true.
And I think Bliss on the other hand, who has probably gone through her own traumas or hardships. Maybe they didn't get as deep into those conversations. He didn't maybe share as much with her. But I think she's going to love him the way that he needs to be loved.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Irina would love with all her heart, absolutely. But I'm not sure it would be the type of love that I think Zach is looking for.
That's true. That's a very great point. I also do think Irina was emotionally immature, the way she handled everything.
Yes.
So, yeah, you're right.
Absolutely.
That
Needed to
have
grow
worked
up
out
a little bit. It broke my heart, actually, when they were laughing, when one of the girls was crying.
Oh, yeah.
That was like heartbreaking. I was like, oh.
Mean girl to the
max.
max.
I was like, this is on camera. Everyone can see what you're doing.
She probably had no, she was like,
But
I'm
she
just being
didn't-
cute and funny.
Yeah.
And like, haha. This girl's in pain.
I commend everyone on these TV shows because I know just doing this podcast with you, it's a little scary to put out our opinions and things about our life because now we're out there for people to judge us. Yeah. Here I am talking about your lives as if I know you and I understand everything you're doing is very brave. And I thought Irina coming on to the Talkback or, the tell-all.
Yeah.
I was like, she stood in the fire and took it. And
people were laughing at her, which I did not agree with.
I didn't like that. I don't feel like there is room for growth. Nobody here on this planet is perfect. Everybody is learning a lesson. I have cringeable moments of things that I have said to people in my past that I'm like, oh, why was I so immature? And, I wasn't necessarily trying to be mean, but it might have come off.
I'm sure I will have many cringeable moments on this podcast. I'm sure I've had some already on this episode.
Yeah, so I commend all of you. Thank you for letting us into your lives and into your love lives. My niece.
Is she going to be on Love is Blind?
She applied. And I just sent her fire signs. Like, fire text. Please let me know. Can't wait.
They're filming in the city? In her city?
They possibly are. So I will. I don't have any more details, but it would be freaking amazing.
That I will be so invested.
Yeah. So we could not wrap up this part 2 of Dating Show Roundup without talking about one of the very first shows I started watching when it comes to love, which is not The Bachelor, believe it or not. It was Married at First Sight.
Is that before The Bachelor or
It
after?
is not technically time-wise, but I really just, I started watching Married at First Sight, and then I was like, what else can I watch?
Yeah.
There's The Bachelor, there's Bachelorette, there's Bachelor in Paradise, there's, Too Hot to Handle, Love Island. I'm about all the shows.
Yeah.
But Married at First Sight is so addicting, absolutely addicting. And I think I got you into the show, didn't I?
You did. I've only watched 2 seasons, though, of Married at First Sight. The pandemic and the one before that.
Okay, nice. I feel like these shows only work if they have a golden couple. So in season 1 of Married at First Sight, Jamie and Doug were that couple. They were Lauren and
Kim.
And
Cameron.
Cameron. Yeah. I thought you said Kim.
Oh, no. Kim.
I was like, who's Kim?
Who's Kim? Lauren and Kim.
Yeah, they're like the Lauren and Cameron of Married at First Sight. They're still together. They got, a couple of kids. She's very open on Instagram and claiming that spot is season 1, it works. And
that's true.
I loved their story. Married at First Sight, they don't know who they're going to marry. They're put together by relationship experts. And then they have a trial marriage. Well, not actually, it's a real marriage. And then they have to decide after a certain amount of time whether or not they're going to stay married or get divorced. And she was not attracted to him. No, she immediately was like, I'm uncomfortable around him. He makes me uncomfortable. I am not attracted to him. But she worked on it, and he was consistent, and he kept showing up, and he kept being patient. And they had their battles, but at the end of the day, he just continued to show up for her.
I think I gotta watch this first season. Where can I find it?
She was built a wall the size of,
really?
the Eiffel Tower. He had to climb the Eiffel Tower to get to his queen. And he did consistently because he wanted it to work. And it was really cute to watch her get a crush on her husband. She's like, oh, I think I have a crush on him. And she's like, I don't know why I didn't think he was cute. He's actually very attractive. And she grew in love, and then she grew into lust. And then it was just like, so amazing to watch.
Okay, I gotta watch it.
Yep. If you haven't watched season 1, that was the season that set it off. That's when couples realized this could actually work for me. And then, I mean, a gazillion seasons later. Wow.
And they're still together.
They're still together.
They
still make beautiful TikTok and reels. You got to watch them with their kids too. It's fun. It's really fun.
I will definitely catch them.
So you watched the pandemic season.
I did. I watched the pandemic season, and that one stood out to me more than the other one that I watched. Because obviously it's like their lives get broken, and we watch them in the pandemic.
Go through what you went through.
Yeah. Well, not really.
That's true.
I'm a nurse. I'm quite the opposite from
We're very, very busy.
Pandemic.
So who was your fave couple?
Okay. Favorite?
Yeah.
Couple they made my heart swell was Armani. Amani and Woody.
Yes.
I was so obsessed with Amani. The way she communicated, the way she held herself in such regard, like her value.
She valued it. She has like such a high self-worth.
And the way she communicated and the way he felt that from her.
Yeah.
Beautiful to watch.
Yeah.
I
loved too that in this particular season, I felt like a lot of the men on that season were very open about not only their emotions, but also like seeking therapy and knowing, especially in the Black community where it is kind of still taboo to go see. Yeah, it's a stigma to go see a therapist or seek help for your mental health. So I loved that. Woody was very open about that.
Yeah.
And he gained 2 dads.
Oh, that was so beautiful.
Isn't that the best? I was like,
that was incredible.
But I will say, I agree. The way that Amani communicated, I never saw her raise her voice.
Yeah, no, she was like so confident in her emotions and her way of speaking it out to the world and to him.
Yeah.
I'm like, can you give me some of that?
Yeah. How did you learn how to? You're so zen.
Can
I be zen like you?
Yes.
So
worthy.
Yes. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And they're still together today.
And they got a baby.
Yeah. You got to clock their Instagram. Their baby got an Instagram, actually.
Oh.
And I, of course, one of the reasons I love that season 2 is because it was in New Orleans, which is like,
true.
That city has a piece of my heart.
You love that city.
I love New Orleans.
Yeah.
Love it. So, question for you. Would you do Love is Blind or Married at First Sight or neither?
I would. I think I would.
Would?
I would be on one of the shows. I think my inkling is to be on Married at First Sight to let the expert, like I would want to be on Love is Blind because I feel like there's so much more to grow because you're growing in the pods.
Yeah.
But I don't trust myself. I feel like I would rather put my love in the hands of experts and see where it goes.
I see.
Yeah.
I can actually see you doing that show. Are they going to be filming anytime soon in Los Angeles?
Are you filming in LA?
So we can find out.
Oof, that's so scary.
So here's the thing. If I was single, I always have to put parameters. If I was single, which show would I do? I think I would do Love is Blind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd like a little more control over picking my partner rather than giving it to experts. But you know, it's like Love is Blind and Married at First Sight. Married at First Sight has got to be scarier.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Because you don't know anything.
You know nothing.
You don't know their voice. You don't know emotion. You don't know anything. You don't know history.
And then suddenly you're married and you're like whisked away onto your honeymoon. And yeah, it's insane. You guys that do this show, thank you. Because it gives me a lot of things to learn about relationships, because I definitely find things on these shows that I take into my own life. Like,
for sure.
ooh, I recognize that trait in myself. Ooh, how do they deal with it? Ooh, I definitely find that trait and I think I could work on that.
Yes. Definitely don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah. So I'm so excited for the newest seasons coming up. If you guys have any shows that we haven't talked about that you'd like us to talk about, love to hear your opinions. Or if you have a confession
or certain seasons,
love to hear what you think we should be watching.
Yes. I want to know too. There's so many. I think you're more caught up than I am. I have a lot of shows, a lot of seasons.
What does that say about my time management? I don't know.
Your preferences.
Yeah, so this was fun.
This was so fun. Oh my gosh, I love
shooting the breeze with you.
Yes.
I love spilling the tea.
Talking about other people's lives, not our own.
I know.
Great.
Why is it so much easier to talk about other people than ourselves?
I think because I honestly think we're good at self-reflection and watching, like analyzing other people, even though it's, we only see what's on TV.
That's true. It's very edited. We are aware of that.
Yes, but I think, like you said, we learn from it. We implement it into our own lives.
Yeah.
And it's easier to say, they did that, I can learn from it, versus living it and being confused about what you need to learn from.
Yeah, very true. Well, guys, thank you for tuning in. We are happy to have you. Don't forget to subscribe so that you know when our next episode drops, which is every other Friday.
And catch us at Corks and Confessions on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube if you want to see all of our shenanigans live.
And in person.
In person.
You can do that.
In person on screen.
Yeah. Well, cheers, everyone. Here's a toast to you, all my bad bitches in progress.
All of our besties, bad bitches in progress.
Yes.
Cheers.